Welcome back. Happening today, a Texas State House committee will head to Uvalde to question law enforcement officials about their response to the deadly shooting at Robb Elementary. A lot of people are criticizing the response to the shooting that killed 21 people, 19 children and 2 teachers. This morning, we're talking about the relationship between police and the community. Joining me now is our 9 News racial equity expert, Dr. Rosemarie Allen. Good morning.
Good morning, Natasha. How are you?
I'm good. So we're talking about the relationship between community and police. How was it prior to the shooting?
You know, in order to really understand that relationship, you have to understand the history of Uvalde. They've had a long-standing history of economic and racial divide. In one part of town, you have the Mexican-American community. And that community actually comprises about 75% of Uvalde's population. And there's been long-standing struggles for civil rights for Mexican Americans in Uvalde. They are the poorest. 1 out of 3 live in poverty. They are the working class, and they are very segregated from the white community. And the white community is comprised of those who have the most power, own the most property, own the most businesses, employ the most people. And they're very conservative and have very strong ties to law enforcement. They consider law enforcement as heroes and family members.
And so how did we see those relations on display during the shooting?
What was really interesting is that the shooting took place at Robb Elementary, which is also the site of the longest protest in Texas history.
Wow.
Which is really, really amazing. And during that protest, white leaders deployed Texas Rangers to come and stop the protest. So they stood on top of rooftops with rifles pointing at protesters. So during the shooting, what was happening was very reminiscent of those long-term struggles where parents were really begging police officers, pleading with them to go in and save their children. And when they wouldn't, the parents were determined to go in themselves.
And one actually did go in themselves.
One went in, but most of them were met with pepper spray and tasers and handcuffs, and it was a feeling that law enforcement was failing parents and families at that time.
And how does race and segregation play a role in these times of crisis?
And we have to look at this. It's not in isolation. That, again, that elementary school being the site of protests, 39 protests happened between the 70s to present day, that Mexican Americans have been fighting for their civil rights. So when the police officers failed to protect them and their children, it created this deep, divided, fractured, the already tenuous relationship between law enforcement and the Mexican American community.
So what happens next? How do we move forward?
We're going to have to find a way to heal. We have to talk about what happened, why it happened, because police officers are trained. Their protocol requires them to stop the threat immediately without waiting for specialized forces to go in. So the families are broken. They're feeling this fractured relationship, and that their children died as a result of inaction.
And that response is being investigated, so hopefully we'll hear from all of that soon.
Yes.
Dr. Allen, so great to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.